Okay, they're going up. So I know everybody's starting to get the notifications. Okay, welcome everyone. I'm just going to give it maybe 1 or 2 more minutes. I'm looking over the tarot cards that I just pulled for our new moon transmission, and then we're going to talk about the new moon in Aries, which we're already in. It came in at 4:28 this morning if you're in the central time zone. So welcome. We're going to get started in just a few moments, I promise. How's everybody doing today with the new moon? I'm just curious. How are you feeling? It's one of my favorite things to ask. How are you feeling? You know, one of my favorite things I've been seeing on social media too is like a little check-in. It's like a how are you feeling? And there's like different colored hearts or different emojis depending on the scale of like okay to not okay on how you're feeling. And I think that's a really cool thing. I think that, you know, this time of social distancing and this time of enforced isolation has really given people time to be with themselves more. And, you know, realizing that maybe we're okay, maybe we're not okay, maybe we're back and forth, but maybe it's good to check in on other people too. I really think it's interesting that out of this distancing and this isolation, we have brought in so much unity and so much oneness. So, you know, it can be a good thing. I think it's a good thing what's going on right now. I don't think the virus is a good thing. Please let me rephrase. Okay. I think it's a beautiful thing that we are all being forced to rest, isolate, and turn within, because it's really helping us to work on ourselves, whether we realize it or not, because we literally can't escape, right? I think that as a yoga teacher, one of the main things that I deal with, and just like as a meditator, as a leader of healing, it's hard to get people to focus on themselves because it's hard to deal with our shit, right? Like, who wants to face their feelings? Who wants to face like their traumas and, you know, some of the bad stuff? I think that we're trained to always be like, not so much now, it's getting better, but we used to always be like, how are you? I'm good, right? Like, so false, so numb. We're not good. We're not okay always. Sometimes we are. But I think that this is a beautiful thing that we are being forced into isolation. It's a shame that it's under the circumstances that it is. But we're getting a second chance to kind of start over. We're getting a chance to really tune within and listen to our intuition and kind of turn off the outside chatter of the world. Yes, you can still talk to your friends. Yes, you can still be on social media. You can still read the news or tune in. But I think that the less social we are, the less distracted we are. And even though we are tuning into all of these other sources during this time, we're learning to develop our own opinion about what's going on in our own feelings. And we're learning to trust our own inner knowing about everything, which I think is so important as we move forward into this next day and age. Okay, I kind of digressed there, but anyway, with that, maybe we'll just get started. I'm gonna grab my tea. Actually, it's just over here, and then we'll get going. Okay, we are going to get started after I look up this bonus card that I pulled because I'm not familiar. Interesting. So I felt called to pull a 4th card today, which I don't normally do. I always pull 3 cards, but today something told me to pull a 4th card, and it's really powerful. Interesting. Okay, beauties, I'm going to read this comment. Feel free to comment as you're tuning in. Even if you're tuning into the replay, feel free to comment. I do go back and check them and respond to them. Roxanne saying, overall, I feel pretty good. I have my window open because I want some fresh air. Overall, I feel pretty good despite what is happening in the world around us. Trying to stay positive and upbeat, turning in and being less social is really good for me as I'm like a sponge and soak up other Energy, good or bad? Yeah, that's really interesting. Oh, that's so interesting, Roxanne, because I literally have been writing your chart this morning. I have to laugh because you're gonna like that. Okay, you're gonna like what you read. Makes sense. Makes sense with what you're saying. Okay. Hey Lisa, welcome. No worries. I was late signing in too. We always wait a few minutes to get everybody here. We're gonna spend a good hour, so we've got time. If we need to spend that much time, I'm not sure what will happen. I think we should drop in with some deep breathing though. So let's all just slow down. So wherever you are, let's just take a comfortable seat, get really tall, really root down into the earth, and then press into the earth to get taller through your sitting bones and through your tailbone. Feel your spine align one vertebrae at a time all the way up to the crown of your head, and then just relax your hands as long as it keeps your shoulders aligned over your hips. Let's inhale, deep breath in, deep open mouth exhale. Really sink into it. And let's do that again. Inhale, sitting tall. Exhale, sinking in. One final time. Any sound you want to bring to the breath. My elbow popped. That was nice. All right. So hopefully you're feeling a little loose and you're feeling a little bit more grounded. Welcome to our new moon circle. We're actually going to start by making the new moon circle the virtual version, which this is something I was always doing before it got cool to be online and do things online. So if you want to join me in setting up your own circle, or if you're just curious as to what I do to kind of create a sacred space, this is what I'm doing today. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in all of the elements. So the first element I want to bring in is this beautiful moonstone pyramid. I love it. It's one of my favorites. It's really precisely cut, and pointed crystals and gemstones, by the way, these concentrate energy. So I really want to concentrate the energy that's coming through today. Any messages that want to speak to you from the universe, I want to make sure that those are transmitted. So I've got this right underneath the phone here so that everything kind of transmits up to you as I speak out to it. The other thing that I have is, wait for it. Where did it go? Oh, sorry, it's over here. Okay, and if you were in my private group, I know that we used this one yesterday. We used both of these yesterday. We're also gonna bring in this rainbow moonstone egg. So we have moved into the season of spring. There's gonna be a siren go by. Let's just take a deep breath while that goes by. So I live by a really busy road and busy intersection, and even though the social distancing has begun and a lot of businesses are closed, we still have quite a bit of traffic and a lot of sirens. Go down this way because it's a direct path towards the hospital. So I always just like to send a little blessing, send a little Reiki there, hoping that everything's okay. So this is an example. You could let something get to you. Like I used to really let the sirens get to me. I hear them all day, every day. Now I see it as an opportunity to send somebody some good positive wishes and vibes. So that's what I just did. Okay, so this is our rainbow moonstone egg. This is going to relate to the season of spring, which we're in right now. Spring is a representation of growth and fertility and renewal. It's when all the little babies are born with the animals a lot of times. I actually had my son last year during the springtime in Aries season. But this is a really good representation of what's to come with Easter as well. So it's okay if you don't, celebrate religiously, but you know that Easter is related to like Easter eggs or the Easter bunny. So all of that's kind of related to Ostara, which is more of a Celtic holiday representing vernal equinox or the welcoming of the light. So when we have this spark, when we have this seed that's planted or this egg that's planted, there's a spark of life growing inside. And that's the energy that we're moving into right now with this new moon that's right with the energy of vernal equinox. So here's this. I'm just going to set this over here to the left of my transmission on the feminine side. So I brought in the earth elements. I've got another earth element, and this is Palo Santo. So Palo Santo is a smudging stick, and it does come from the rainforest, and it comes from dead trees. So these trees have been dead for, I think it's at least 7 years, if not longer, before they're harvested. And then this creates like a really beautiful hardening of the wood, and there's a resin within the wood that when you light it on fire and it starts to burn, it creates a really beautiful sweet smell, and it also creates a very cleansing smoke. So the Amazon is, full of such healing plant medicine. And Palo Santo is just one example of that. And over this past year, we've had a lot happen with the rainforest. The rainforest really caught on fire. And Australia caught on fire. There's been a lot of fire going on, and we're moving into the new moon of Aries today, which is also represented by fire. So I just wanted to bring this in today. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this wood being dead and how that can represent our new moon energy as well. There's going to be a lot of death that we talk about today, but I don't want you to fear that. It's actually a good thing. But we're just going to smudge in the space that I'm in right now, and I do send this out to you as well here in the ether. So the ether is a magical element, and it's the other element that we bring into our transmission, but the ether crosses space and time. So everything can transmit here just as powerful as if you were here in front of me, just as powerful as if you are tuning in to the replay or the live. So we're just sending all that smoke out to cleanse so that our space is sacred and quiet, and we can hear everything and understand everything that we need to. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. And we brought in the element of fire when we lit that smudging stick. We also brought in the element of smoke or air as we just smudge now. And I'm going to light a candle as well. So this is something I like to do during the new moon, because new moons are a time of darkness. It's the time of ultimate darkness. And although we're doing this transmission during the day, you could certainly let this energy be represented now or a couple of days from now, because the new moon's energy resonates 2 to 4 days before and after. So I know this is backwards because my camera's flipped, but this is my good vibes only candle from a dear sister and friend, and I'm going to go ahead and light that one today. We're going to bring the good vibes in. So I'm just going to set this over here and kind of catch that flame right out of the corner of things. Okay, perfect. Whoop. Okay, and then for the element of water, I've just got my tea today just to nourish my own throat chakra so that everything comes through clearly. I'm going to go and take a drink of that now. And with that, let's take a deep breath in, deep breath out, and our circle is sealed. I can feel it. Okay. So this is the time certainly for you to engage in the chat. If anything comes through, feel free. Otherwise, I'm just gonna blab, okay? The new moons are always about new beginnings. It's also a time when we feel heavier. I already kind of wrote about the new moon and posted it this morning, but new moons are related to Apana energy. Apana energy is gravity. It's the energy at the bottom of our breath. It connects us to the earth. Now, this energy is stronger during a new moon time. So with these feelings of heaviness, you might also be feeling emotionally heavy, especially during this time when there's a lot of chaos around us, right? So you might be feeling sad or angry or jealous, or you might be raging out, or you might be restless. You might have cabin fever. You might be picking fights with the people that are around you in your home space. You might find yourself frustrated. You might be worried. You might be, did I say anxious, depressed, all that stuff. It's normal, okay? I want you to know that it's normal. I want you to learn to feel your feelings without judgment, and learn to let your feelings rise up and observe them without judgment. All of your feelings deserve recognition, not just the good ones, okay? So if you're feeling that way right now, now you know that there's a physical reason for it, that you feel heavier. Now here's the deal. I talked about this last night in the yoga class that I taught online, but science has taught us that posture affects our mood, okay? So when we are slouched, when we're hunched over, when we're frumpy, we actually feel frumpy. We don't feel good. We resonate in the lower frequency energies. And that's because we're tuning in to that Apana energy whether we know it or not. So we just feel low. However, we've also learned that when we stand tall, when we're confident, when we take like those superhero power poses, it makes us feel really good, right? We feel positive. We start to vibrate higher. So it's important to know that even though you're sinking down or you might feel low, that all you have to do is maybe sit a little taller, take a few deep breaths in and out, and you can flip the switch on how you feel. Okay, so with this lower frequency energy, there's also an energy of darkness. This is a time of tuning within. So full moons can also be a time of tuning within, but full moons are when we're at the brightest and people are a little bit more heightened in their energy and they tend to be more social. But during a new moon, you're not as social. And right now, we're definitely not barely social at all, right? So this is a time to really tune within, not just because of what's going on around us, but what's going on with the moon. When you're feeling heavier, when you're in those lower frequency energies, the last thing you want to do is socialize and, maybe ruin a relationship with the things that you say or the way that you act. Just take time for yourself, like isolate to quarantine your emotions if you need to, right? So with this turning within energy, it's a really beautiful thing because it gives us the opportunity to take time to be with ourselves, to nurture ourselves, to listen to the wisdom that we have, to listen to any inspiration, to, let any creativity come. And it's a really beautiful time to rest and dream or meditate or work on envisioning what you want in the future. I don't like to think about new beginnings being once a year on January 1st. I like to think about them being every lunar cycle. So every new moon represents a new beginning. This is a chance to reevaluate where you are in your life, to slow down, to pause, to reflect, to stop doing and just relax, and then see where you want to go from here. Where do you see yourself 4 weeks from now on the next lunar cycle? This is the time to not start doing, but just start preparing. So maybe rest and dream and think about what you want to do. You don't actually take the steps towards your goals till like day 3 or 4, till you start to see the light of the moon coming back, okay? So that's the energy of the new moon, and then every moon resonates with a certain zodiac sign, and if you're in the Western zodiac world, this new moon resonates with Aries. Aries is the beginning of the zodiac. It's the first sign in the zodiac. So this is actually the zodiac new year or the Vedic new year. It's also considered the Vedic new year on the eastern side. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on. But with this energy of beginnings with the new moon, new beginnings, we're also in the energy of new beginnings with the entire zodiac. So this is when the calendar begins. So if you set some goals or some intentions or some resolutions on January 1st or the beginning of 2020 and they didn't quite pan out, I mean, like, holy crap, like what is this year, right? We're all like 2020 is going to be our year, and then it's just been like pure chaos month after month, right? So if you find yourself looking back at January 1st and being like, yeah, I'm nowhere near that, it's okay. It's okay because of the alignment of the stars, because of the alignment of our calendar in the astrological world. Maybe you set some stuff with Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year. Again, that's great, but if it didn't work out, still okay, because lunar, the moon has to do with our feelings and our emotions. It has to do with more rest and dreaming and imagining and envisioning. The sun is what has to do with our masculine energy, actually taking action, doing, and really making bigger changes. So if you've been on an emotional roller coaster during this time over the past few months, perfectly normal. You're actually aligned with exactly where you need to be. And now, as we start to set up this next calendar year, starting with the Aries new moon, now you have the opportunity to really move forward with your goals. Now, maybe your goals are a lot different than they were on January 1st because our lives have kind of been halted, right? We've kind of come up to a block, but is it a block or is it a redirection? So take a moment now, with this new moon energy to really think, hey, what's been going on, you know, in my past, what's been going on in the past few months leading to here. How have my goals shifted, or how has my future version of myself shifted? Do you have any divine inspiration coming through? Do you feel inspired to make a change? Do you feel motivated to start working on a new project, or maybe an old project that's been sitting around forever? Maybe you just feel inspired to work more on your home, your sanctuary, since you're there. Maybe start to put the love into your home that you've wanted to. Maybe start putting the love into your body temple, your home here, right? Maybe you start taking care of yourself more. These are the things that we need to focus on right now. When you learn to nurture yourself, when you learn to create a sanctuary in the space that you mostly reside in, then you start to feel good. When you start to feel good, you want to show up towards change. You want to show up to new habits. And then that's how you make that change, right? That's how you make progress. So I hope that you're not feeling discouraged if you've fallen off track, okay? I hope that you actually see this as an opportunity, a really exciting one, to begin again and really start to move forward. Okay, I'm gonna grab a drink of this water. I say water, but it's tea. Close enough. Okay, is this resonating with anybody? I'm just curious. Does anybody feel like they've been working really hard on their goals and intentions since January 1st and it just keeps not working out and you don't understand why, but now maybe you're feeling really called to start again? Hopefully you're feeling something like that, an inspiration to make change. We're certainly all being inspired to take care of our health more, right? And that's a win. Okay, I'm just looking down at these cards that I pulled. Okay, so Aries energy also represents fire. So we're having a new fire started within us. We're having our heart's desire. It's being ignited, our heart's desire, and we're really starting to move into our passions. You might be at home finally doing things that just like make you feel good, like coloring or crafts, or maybe you have hobbies that like literally don't have anything to do with what you do professionally and they don't bring in any money, but you just enjoy doing them. Maybe you find yourself doing more of that stuff because you're home and you have more time. You really want to focus on doing the things that make your heart feel yummy, okay? And I love, because in Sanskrit, when you use the Bija seed mantra for the heart center, it's yam, Y-A-M. And I always think like yum, like in my heart, right? And then I joke now when I teach these chakra workshops that I teach that, you know, it's like the Justin Bieber, like yummy yum, like, right? Like he gave us that like, yep, like it's the yum in your heart. So that's what you want to focus on right now. You really want to nourish the yum in your heart, because you might not be nourishing the yum in your belly, right? You might not be, what am I trying to say? You might find yourself not being able to go dine at your favorite places or enjoy the usual foods that you enjoy because you're social distancing, or restaurants are shut down, or you're just not comfortable eating out, or whatever it may be. Your belly is really affected right now during not really this new moon energy, but what's going on in the state of the world. And our belly is also where our ego resides, and it's also where our identity resides. So as the energy starts to fade away from your solar plexus, because you don't have as much, I guess, nourishment there, or as many things to make you feel good in your belly, you're starting to need to move that energy into the heart, because your identity, your old identity, is starting to fade away. Okay? And you finally get an opportunity to develop your identity right from your heart center. You finally get the opportunity to start asking yourself, what makes me feel good, and what do I want to do in the world that makes my heart feel good, that just gives me those yummy vibes. This is what the Aries new moon is asking us to focus on. It's time to let go of the things that make us feel like, you know what, right? Let go of it. Like, let go of it. It's not serving you. Let go of the stuff that makes you feel bad. Rise up. Whew, okay. Lisa says, yeah, that's me. Roxanne says, love it, yummy, yummy, yummy. Yeah, that's what I think of every time now when I think of the heart chakra and the bija sounds. Okay, so I want to touch base on the Vedic astrology. I'm just looking at the time. Good, we got a lot of time. By the way, these new moon and full moon transmissions are usually an hour, so you can always catch the replay. And if the recording goes well, I will put it up on YouTube. And if you're tuning into YouTube, then you know that this didn't come from YouTube. It came from Facebook. Yeah, okay. So with this new moon, we also have the Vedic astrology that influences things, and it's something that I like to tune into. And I have to say, I'm no expert on Vedic astrology, but one of the ways that I started learning about, I get this question a lot, how do you know what you know about astrology, or how do you know about the moon? Well, when I first dove into it all about 8 years ago, I started tuning into other people, and I really tried to just understand each astrological sign and like what its energy related to. And then I started to understand like the moon and the sun, and then from there I expanded out to the other planets. But it just took a lot of repetition, like tuning into the same people's stuff over and over, reading the same stuff over and over, and then really starting to get familiar with the signs. And then there's another aspect when it comes to the things that I bring forward. It comes from pure divine voice, pure divine channeling, intuition. So something you may not know about me, my name is Veena, right? Veena Lene. Veena is my spiritual name. It was gifted to me in India about 3 years ago. And Veena means the divine sound of the goddess. The Veena is an instrument that Saraswati played, but it's also the divine voice of the goddess. And I've always had a voice, and things have always come through to me. And so whatever I bring through, it's just words from the cosmos channeling through me. So, okay, so that's the other piece of it. But with that being said, with the Vedic astrological stuff, I'm just learning. So I'm familiarizing myself each moon with the nakshatra, the lunar mansion that the moon resides in, whether it be the new moon or the full moon. So these are like constellations, basically, places in the sky, places in the stars. And this nakshatra with this new moon, it's in Uttara Bhadrapada. Uttara Bhadrapada. I'm not perfect at Sanskrit. I'm not trying to be. Speaking the way I can. It means, or it's represented by the funeral pyre. So in India, bodies get cremated, cows get cremated. Cremation happens to symbolize transformation. And this funeral pyre, it's the bed where the body lies. I wrote about this briefly today. It's where the body lies to be cremated. So this is that energy of death that I'm talking about. Now, yes, we are, every year has a Sanskrit energy, and I think it's Vikari, and I believe it's Vikari, is the energy we've been in with the past year up until this point, and that has represented illness. And there's been a lot of sickness in the world, right? And it's not just physical, medical illness, body sickness. It's been a lot of perversion. There's been a lot of that coming to the surface. There's been just a lot of sickness with our planet, right? Climate change and all the things that are happening with the world being on fire. And then, of course, the sickness that we're dealing with right now. So it's really interesting that that's the energy that we were in. But now we're moving into an energy, I can't remember the name of the word right now, but it's Sanskrit for twilight. Okay? So it's always darkest before the dawn. God, I've been saying this, I feel like I've been saying this every transmission. It's the message that's coming through from the universe. It's always darkest before the dawn. We've been in a Kali Yuga. We've been in a dark age. And now we're moving into a golden age. We're starting to light ourselves on fire. We're starting to vibrate higher. We're starting to find our oneness and our unity and our commonalities versus our separateness. But that separateness is so big. It's so large right now. The division seems so huge right now. And that's because we have to bring awareness to moving forward from that. I'm trying to get my words right. So we have a lot of racism. We have a lot of division. And right now we are all very divided because we're all being isolated within our homes, right? And we could use all this to continue to fuel hate and separateness. We could get angry. We could get fueled by the hype in the media and social media and everywhere around us. Or we can use this opportunity to tune within. So we're moving into a time where we're being forced to tune within right now at the very end of this Vakari year, the very end of this year full of so much illness and so much sickness and so much darkness. Now we're being forced in to reflect on all of it, right? And also reflect on ourselves. And now we can start to make change. I think one of the really beautiful things that's come out of this isolation is that everybody's been unifying, right? Like Italy's been singing and dancing, right? And there's people like dancing on their rooftops in Spain and South America and all these places. And, you know, I think here in America, at least in my community, I know the community has just like bonded together. Like everybody is donating to food places to help keep them open, and also like helping to feed like our first responders and our medical staff. And I get chills like just thinking about like how amazing it is. And people have been supporting me like in my studio, and I've been giving live yoga because I want everybody to relax. And I just think, you know, we're all coming together right now, and it's exactly what we need after so much separation that's been going on. We're finally learning to put our opinions aside and put our separateness aside, and we're learning to come together to support one another for survival of humankind, right? It's such a beautiful thing. Okay, so Uttara Bhadra Pada, the funeral pyre where we let the things come to be burned away, to be transformed, to let the spirit be released. This is the energy that we're in right now. So it's time to let your attachments to those things from your past that bring you down. And you can certainly keep those memories in your life, but you can change the way that you feel about them, okay? So I mentioned that we're moving into our heart space. So I'm just going to touch briefly on energy centers. Your root chakra is where you have like childhood stuff, family stuff, growing up. Your sacral chakra, your low belly, is where you have like pleasure, and it's also things you experience like hormonally, like your teenage years and your young adult years, and then it has to do with like sexuality as well. And then I talked about your solar plexus already. It has to do with your identity, sort of develops in your 20s and 30s and kind of beyond, kind of like overall back and forth with life. Now is the time to kind of go deep, right? Attach to that Apana energy, really look down into the past, look back at the things that are dead now, right? The past is dead. It's there in our life, but it's you can't change it. It is what it is, right? So it's just there, and it's down there in your energy body. And so now is the time to start to pull up all the things from your past that have been weighing you down, that make you feel bad, that make you feel low frequency. And it's time to alchemize them through the fires in your heart, because that is what is so strong right now with this new moon and with this lunar cycle. It's all about the heart right now. And so when we learn to alchemize through the heart, we start to view things in a different light. So we start to say, okay, like, that thing sucked, that happened to us. However, I learned a big lesson out of that. And because of that thing that happened, this is the positive thing that's happened now. You view things with gratitude, and you view things with empathy, and you view things with grace. And we could do like a whole workshop or program on this. But briefly, that's what we're touching on right now. Now, it's interesting because the heart energy is related to the lungs. And our lungs are really impacted right now worldwide, right? So we are learning right now to really focus on taking deep breaths and breathing into our heart space, really focusing on our heart and nourishing our heart. So we can do this physically with all the things we're doing right now by protecting ourselves, but we can also do it by emotionally diving in, and we're kind of being forced to do that right now. So fire is transformative. Fire changes things, right? Fire changes things from a very heavy, dead, decaying body that no longer serves, that will only attract pests and produce rot and maybe spread disease. Instead, we bring it to the fire and we set it on fire and we turn it into ash, and the ash will blow away. Or we can contain the ash, right? We can contain the ash in the urn, and we can hold it there in our heart space, and then we can view that in a different way. Or we can slowly spread those ashes over time and in different places as we slowly release the things that we've had attached to that previous memory. I hope this makes sense. Okay, that's what's coming through. And that's the Vedic astrological interpretation of what's going on with this new moon. It really does relate to what's going on with the Western zodiac, the tropical zodiac, new beginnings, moving forward, really letting go, moving into the golden age, vibrating higher, finding ways to make yourself feel good no matter what. Okay, I'm going to take a drink. We're doing great on time. I'm going to talk about the tarot. Okay, and then we'll probably do just a little bit of deep breathing towards the end. So if you want to put any comments, anything coming through, feel free. And then we'll move on. Okay. Okay, let's talk about the tarot. I always pull cards. And normally I pull 3 cards, and for some reason today I was inspired to pull a bonus card. And it's interesting because the 3 cards I pulled are all like the same color. They're like a, I just noticed this. They're all like a pink color. And then the bonus card I pulled is green. And the heart chakra is represented. It's the only chakra that's represented by 2 colors. It's represented by pink and green. The cards don't lie, guys. Yesterday I pulled the Hermit for our private group, and it had to have been so accurate. Okay, so these are the cards that I pulled, and I'm just going to go through them. Again, feel free to comment as I'm just blabbing here. So the first card I got was the 4 of Swords. The 4 of Swords. Okay, so let's talk about the number 4 first. First off, we're about to move into the 4th month of the Gregorian calendar. We're about to move into April. Let's talk about the number 4 being that we tend to have schools out right now for 4 weeks, or we tend to be social distancing for about 4 weeks. Let's talk about the swords that are all pointing down, the swords that are telling you to go down into the depths of your root chakra, this big red square. This square represents earth. This red represents the earth chakra. Go down deep into your energy body and start to slay, use the swords, start to slay what no longer serves. Dice it up, burn it away. It's also interesting that it's the swords because I didn't touch on this, but in the Hindu world, we're starting Navaratri today or tonight, which is the 9 nights of the goddess, and it's all about Durga and Durga overcoming what's really the ego, but it's represented as a demon that's out of control, and she uses these swords and she slays. And so it's interesting that the 4 of Swords is coming in. So here's what else this represents. It represents overcoming illness. Overcoming illness. Your issues lie in your tissues, okay? So when you have emotional disruption, when you have emotional blockages in your chakras, when you have emotional blockages around your memories and your traumas, it will resonate as physical sickness in your body, okay? So think about that. 4 of Swords. We have more swords. We have the Queen of Swords, Navaratri, the goddess with the sword, ready to slay. And I love how she has the sword and then the one hand up. So you see some of the goddesses, the deities, and they like, or you see a lot of like this in the Eastern world, even like with Hanuman sometimes. And this is like the dispeller of negativity, right? The Hamza, the negative hand. So the blocking of the negativity, but also like taking in what you can take in and, you know, slaying it when you have the sword in your hand. So Queen of Swords here. And she is telling us to really trust our intuition. So the Queen of Swords is full of wit. She's very intuitive, and she also really tells us to put ourselves first, okay? She actually asks us to nurture ourselves first, okay? So this is what she's telling us to do right now. This is what the universe is asking us to do. Put yourself first. You have an opportunity to be home much more than you usually do. You have an opportunity to have more free time than you usually do. How will you use it? Can you nourish the things that make you feel good? Can you make yourself feel yummy? And can you get rid of the negativity on anybody telling you that the things that make you feel good aren't for you, or they're silly, or they don't make sense? I love to pull cards. People might think that's weird. Don't care. Queen of Swords. Okay. Page of Cups. Also pink. Page of Cups. So notice all the red, by the way. Red square, red dress, red cape, green armor, heart chakra, root chakra. These are connected. All of this in the heart is connected down to the root. What you believe here determines what you bring into the earthly world. Okay? How you feel here decides whether you feel safe or not in the heart. It's connected. The Page of Cups, he reminds us to be playful, to be youthful, but with that childlike innocence, or with that playfulness and that youthfulness, he also has a sense of insecurity. So children must have codependency, right? Like they must rely on somebody else to take care of them. And that's kind of the energy that's coming through right now, right? Like we're not feeling so safe, root chakra. We're not feeling so safe and secure right now. There's a lot of unknowns about the future. People are worried about toilet paper, which is like literally your root chakra, which I think is hilarious. I read a thing about that today too, and I was like, oh my God, I've been thinking the same thing. So when we feel unsafe, when we feel anxious, when we feel insecure, it can resonate within our root chakra. Or vice versa. So the Page of Cups is basically telling us that the playfulness is our medicine, okay? So when we learn to be playful, when we learn to use our imagination or do things out of creativity or do things that make us feel yummy, it pulls that energy up out of the root chakra. It can help us, take like resurface some things that, or bring things up to the surface that we need to bring up. But it also, reminds us to look at things with a playful eye and just make yourself feel good. And when you make yourself feel good, then you start to feel safe. So again, like the Page of Cups, had a little thing. The Page of Cups there is telling us kind of what everything else is telling us, to take advantage of this time to do like hobbies and things that make you feel good and be playful. If you have kids, be playful. Like using your imagination is one of the best things that you can do to help you create your dream life, which if you are working on intentions and goals, you are trying to create a dream life, a different life than what you have now. So access that through your playfulness and your childlike innocence. Okay, these are the 3 cards that I pulled. And then the bonus card, I have to kind of look it up again. It's interesting, but give me just a moment. Yeah, okay. The 5 of Wands. So the 5 of Wands, everything's pointing up. We've got a green square. We've got the green of the heart space. Okay. 5 is the 5th chakra. It's just above the heart. We're pointing up past the heart. We're being told to move up. We're being told to vibrate higher. We're being told to use our imagination. We're being told to move up and out of our heart. And if we move out of our heart, our energy will flow all the way up and we will feel better. Number 5, May, the 5th month of the year, is a time when we're hoping to set aside the media hype. We're hoping to come out of this. Like 4 to 8 weeks from now is May, okay? We're going to move into summer. things will be a little bit better. The other thing about the Five of Wands is it represents that there can be chaos all around you, and it's not your job to fix it. It's not your job to fix the chaos around you. The only thing that you are truly in control of is yourself. You're not in control of your parents. You're not in control of your kids. You're not in control of your brother or your sister or your cousin or your aunt or your uncle. You're not in control of your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your lover or your husband or your wife or your partner. You're not in control of anybody else's life. You don't own them. You don't own their feelings. You don't own their experiences. You don't own what's going down deep inside of their energy body and their emotional body. You do not control them. The only thing you control is yourself. The Five of Wands is saying focus on your heart, focus on yourself. That's how you change the world. It starts with us. We have to ignite our own fire. We have to improve ourselves, become better people, and that inspires other people to do the same. Can you guide people along the way? Yes. Can you inspire people along the way? Yes. Can you try to motivate people along the way? Yes, but tread lightly. Okay? This card is also telling us that what has worked in the past is no longer working. Warning, unpopular opinion alert. We have climate change happening because we are not taking care of our planet. We're setting forests on fire for the sake of agriculture that is not necessary for our survival. Our polar caps are melting. Our sea levels are rising. All of these things are happening because of old ways of the world. Burning fossil fuels no longer serves. Okay? That's just one thing. There's many other things we could talk about, okay? But I'm just getting to the point that what we are doing has not been serving our planet, and it's very clear now because look at what is happening in the world. Because we have shut down, there are dolphins and swans in the Venice canals and the water is clear. For the first time in who knows how long over China, the air is clean. Pretty much the same for India right now. You know, people are traveling less. People are doing less. People are polluting less. People are becoming more conscious of their waste and how they use things in their home. People are becoming more conscious of their paper products in America, right? But we're all becoming more familiar with the way that we have been living and kind of asking ourselves, like, is this serving us as we move forward? Is this serving humanity? Is this serving our future generations? Is this serving our children as they grow up? And we're being asked now to take a look at it. So the Five of Wands is basically, this is a bonus card that was pulled today, and it basically just says, look, focus on yourself. Can't fix anybody else. You have to let people process their feelings, but you can certainly set an example by taking the reins and being a light within all of this darkness. Just focus on yourself, start to make small changes within yourself, and then over time that leads to big changes throughout the universe. Okay, there you go. Hopefully these all serve. Well, my tea is almost gone, so I'm going to finish drinking it. I think we'll do a little bit of deep breath work. I've got about 5 more minutes. Don't let that car pass. I say 5 more minutes just because my little guy is downstairs and I got to go nurse him, and me and my husband is so supportive of me doing this online stuff, especially right now, that I'm going to go give him a break. So, feel free to comment if anything's coming through, if you have any questions, if anything didn't make sense that you want me to clarify, because sometimes I speak, like I said, just what comes through, and sometimes I need to like back up and say it a different way. And I love the cards. Hopefully you love the cards because I think that they were just perfect. I pulled these before we got started, so the message was already there. Okay. So by the way, the dead things, Uttara Bhadrapada, the Palo Santo wood, that was the representation there before I forget to say that. Okay, loves, I think that we will just do some deep breathing today. I'm going to guide you through a little bit of relaxation. We're not really going to go into a deep meditation today, but I do encourage you, on my YouTube channel. I just did a yoga nidra for vernal equinox. It's also on my Facebook page on the Mother Moon yoga page. I did a 1 hour yoga nidra for vernal equinox that'll really help you kind of like move into that dream space and kind of envision what you want for the future. So I invite you to, listen to that today. It's completely free. And that can be your guided, deep guided meditation for the new moon. Okay, let's find a comfortable seat. Reminder to sit tall. Remembering that we want to lift our heart space. We want to feel all of our energy pulling up out of the muck, out of the darkness, out of the shadows, and begin to rest without creating any more tension. Just rest, gently relaxed. Let's take a deep breath in, deep breath out. You're going to take another one in and out. Maybe one more with noise. And just relax your body. Connect down to the earth. Connect to gravity. Connect to the bottom of your breath, the Apana energy that is stronger with this new moon. Let this connection to the earth help you soften your body. Soften your eyes, your jaw, your shoulders. Soften between your ribs. Soften your belly so the breath can move through. Soften your hip spaces so the breath can move through. Soften your legs, your feet, your toes. Soften your whole body. Soften so that you can receive more breath. And then deeply move into those spaces, continuing to let go. With every exhale, feel your body sinking down and letting go. Take a few moments to simply let go of any tension that you discover in your body. Knowing that when you release the physical tension, this may also help to unlock any emotions that were stored there. Knowing that this is why you have thoughts and feelings and memories and traumas and all kinds of things come to mind as you simply breathe deeply and relax, or when you do yoga, or when you meditate, or when you do yoga nidra, or you rest. And you're going to breathe into it like it's a good thing. Because when you release your physical tension and you release your emotional tension, it helps you to feel better. So just take a moment to discover whatever you experience as you deeply let go of your body with your exhales. Take maybe 1 or 2 more deep breaths, deeply relaxing. Keep your eyes closed, but bring your hands together at your heart. Start to rub your palms together. Eyes are still closed, but you're creating some friction. You're creating some heat. You're starting to ignite a little fire within your palms, which is connected to your wrists and your pulse and your heart energy. This is all heart chakra that we're building this energy into. And then keeping your eyes closed, cup your palms over your eyes. Feel that heat radiating into your body. Blink your eyes open into your hands. Slowly release your hands down. And welcome back. Ooh, my hands just got sweaty, so that was some energy that moved through. My hands always get sweaty when I move energy through when I do Reiki. So, okay, loves, focus on your dreams. Let go of the stuff that's not serving anymore. So this is something you usually do during a full moon, but something that might be nice for your new moon ceremony today, which you can do today, tonight, or in the next day or so. Take out a piece of paper and write down everything that's no longer serving you. So everything that you're ready to emotionally alchemize and feel differently about. You don't have to let it go completely. You just let go of the previous attachment or the previous emotion. You can still have an emotional attachment to it, but do it in a different way. Vibrate from the heart up. But write down everything that you're ready to change, or you're ready to let go of, you're ready to alchemize. And then take the fire maybe you have your candle from your new moon ceremony. Set that paper on fire as long as you're practicing safe fire practices. We are indoors, so maybe do this like in the bathtub or the sink. But you can light it on fire and burn it away. And you can physically see that symbolism, right, of the burning away and the turning to ash. The paper will no longer be the same. It will no longer be as heavy. It will no longer float to the ground in one piece. It is now ash. It will blow away, and you almost can't even contain it all. You can't even contain it in the same way. So this is a really beautiful practice to help you feel like you're actually changing things or letting things go. With that, I think we'll seal our circle. I wish you the best with this new moon and this social distancing. I hope that you're feeling good, or I hope that you're doing things to help yourself feel good so that you start to feel a little bit more positive. If anything comes through, feel free to leave it in the comments even after this live. If you're catching the replay, I will go back, I will respond and check in. And if you're into yoga, I'm doing live yoga classes over on the Mother Moon yoga page, my yoga studio page. And the next time I'll be here will probably be with the full moon. So I will see you then. Okay, loves. Deep breaths. Namaste. Good vibes only.